What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. You've seen him before. You know his face. You know his strength. He is looking absolutely chiseled and ripped right now, and we're going to talk about why. Ladies and gentlemen, Alec Hanson is one of those people who has become such a friend and mentor and continues to be a leader from the front. He's just not one of those saying, do this, do this. He's doing it. He's putting in the hustle. He's letting the sweat drip down his face. But he continues to be one of those people that I admire so much. He's the CMO for LoanDepot, and we're going to be diving into a 100-day challenge that he just completed today. I mean, literally just got out of the gym making it happen. We're going to be talking about 100-day challenges. We're going to be talking about how you can win in 2024. You're not going to want to miss this. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. Every time I get together with Alec, it literally is one of those, I just smile. I told my wife just getting ready for this, I'm like, I get to hang out with Alec this morning. He's truly one of those people that he just brings the fire and the energy. So Alec, I'm so excited to be shredding with you today.
Dude, the fire and the energy is all you, bro. And it's so fun to talk about consistency and other fun stuff with like Mr. Consistent, Josh. Like you've been an inspiration to so many people in just how to show up every day. It's in your like logo, and you do it. And so, dude, thank you. It's great to hang with you today, dude. It's always great to spend time with you.
Dude, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the accolades, but you and yourself, before we get into it, you are one of the leaders. People know who you are. You're recognized. You're speaking throughout the industry. You're on stages constantly, continuing to add value and sharing the things that are truly important. There's a lot of times where we hear this fluff here and there, but you're always, every time I hear you, every time I even talk to people, are like, dude, did you hear what Alex said on stage? Did you hear his keynote or this or that? You always bring what's truly valuable to our industry, our community, and our mortgage family. And I'm excited to be getting into that today, but more importantly, for those who may not know you, give a little background on Alec. Let us know you a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole a little bit, but so I've been in the mortgage industry for like 22 years now. I started because I asked my dad for a job, and I was a receptionist, getting $90 of loans, doing HELOCs in a strip mall. And, I've worked in so many pieces of the industry. I was a processor 3, which just meant I ordered appraisals all day long. I've stacked files. I didn't underwrite. But then I got into sales. I was an assistant. I was a receptionist. I was a, junior loan officer. And before I became the chief marketing officer at LoanDepot, I was running the Western United States for our retail channel. And so, I'm kind of like I'm a street mortgage kid. Really. And I joke that I'm the CMO now because I put videos on the internet, which is partially true. So it's been a fun journey in this industry. I kind of found myself here by accident a little bit. I think sales and marketing have always been two sides of the same coin, very different things, but very complementary things. So it's fun to serve in this capacity right now. And I come from a long line of storytellers. So I guess that's part of my DNA too in marketing, is just telling good stories. So that's a little bit about me. I mean, I'm a huge dork. I love Marvel Comics. I've used to own a gym. I've been on a fitness thing for the last 100 days. So we can go wherever you want to go, Josh, but that's a little bit about me.
Dude, what I love is you mentioned throwing up videos on the internet. That is something you do. You mentioned consistently for me, but that's something you have consistently done. And you even did a 100-day challenge prior to this one about showing up, about doing videos. And that's something that has helped you get into that rhythm, get into that consistency. I know that was a big thing for you as well. And you joke about just throwing up videos on the internet, which is what helped you get to where you are today. But it's true. That's what you mentioned, sales and marketing. There's two sides of the coin, but showing up, having a brand, being present, being where people can see you, where they can hear you, where they can actually interact with you. That's a big part of the game, Alec.
Huge. And there's a funny story to the video world and kind of my transition into that. I always enjoy being a coach, like, a mentor. I think part of being a leader is also being a good mentor and explain to people what's going on and how to tackle it and how to view certain things. And I was a great street originator. I mean, I really knew how to go out and build relationships with realtors, I knew that game. I had a great strategy for it. I could lead into it. And this darn thing called the internet kept, progressing through our industry. And I realized that I'd never played there. I never figured it out as a marketing strategy. And it's funny because I'm like an Oregon Trail kid. Like I grew up on computers and internets. It didn't connect the dots until I watched, internet-based lenders start to become number one in purchase and surpass local people. And I'm going, what the heck's happening in our world? And this is 5-6 years ago. And so I decided that I would do this 100 videos in 100 days type of a challenge just to try to see if I could get into that space. I had no strategy. I had no thought. I was just going to I did videos on standing desks. I was so random. I was all over the board. But what I learned in that particular experience was you have to go play in that space to figure it out. Like nobody's going to give you the exact roadmap. There's brilliant people out there who can tell you things, but until you're playing in the space and finding your own voice, you're never really going to understand it. And that's what helped me carve my way forward. And I started on my own podcast and I wrote a book and I did all these things because of that challenge that started me off into that digital space. And I like to always just kind of end it with this particular statement. Like I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder when it comes to gurus that are like, just do what I do and buy my ebook and all this stuff. I always think of myself as a practitioner. Like I'm just trying to figure it out. And some of the things I've figured out aren't good. And some might work for somebody else, but they didn't work for me. And that's okay too. And I'm never trying to approach it from a guru position, just more of I'm trying to figure this out too. Let's learn together.
Ooh, bro, a practitioner. That's exact. And you and I have had this conversation before. The things that it's been fun to watch your journey, my journey through social media, because you look at our first videos where we started, you and I both just laugh. Like I even look back at
awesome.
One of the first times I had you on the show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look how far we've come to this day. But then again, like I'm on AirPods in my phone doing the show. It doesn't matter what you have.
No,
it just matters that you do it. Like you said, being a practitioner of the craft. You don't have to be perfect at it. You don't have to have the best and latest and greatest. You just have to continue to show up. You're going to learn. You're going to grow. You're going to continue to improve. And the message and the value you share for your community is going to be it's going to come through. Like people are going to hear you. They're going to see you. And they're going to appreciate you in the grind and in the hustle, which kind of segues perfectly over into this 100-day challenge that you just did. So first and foremost, why? And this wasn't a 100 video day challenge. This was actually, we're talking physical. You're talking like hitting the gym. Why'd you take this on? And what was kind of the goal or mindset of that?
Well, I mean, this 100-day thing's now become if I've done it twice now, it's kind of becoming a theme, which I'm not trying to make it a theme. Like I'm not the 100-day guy. I'm not writing a book on the 100-day thing, although maybe people said I should, but like, let me just go back a little bit. So I've always focused a lot on health and fitness. I've always had a core belief that health and fitness are underlying, foundational, crucial pieces of your life. And the more that you can focus on your health and fitness, the better you are professionally, the better you are with your family, the better, all the things. Like you can't do cool shit if you're dead, and you can't make an impact if you can't go upstairs very well. Like it's harder. Life's harder. So I've always had that viewpoint, and I owned a CrossFit gym for 13 years, and I've been in fitness for a long time. That said, 2020 and COVID was a pretty disruptive thing in my life. And I'm an introvert by nature, so people are like, well, COVID must have been great because you just stayed at home all day. And I'm like, yeah, it was. But like many people, I struggled with some depression. I struggled with some anxiety. It wasn't like nobody comes through unscathed. We're not iron people that don't have feelings. And through that too, I also had an issue arise physically with my hips. So long story short, I don't have any cartilage really left in my hips. And so I was in tremendous amounts of daily pain with bone on bone grinding in my hips. And I'm a younger guy. I just turned 42. And I had like 85-year-old hips. In fact, my left was so bad that when I met the doctor, he was like, you shouldn't have hips like this. And I don't have some genetic condition. I have slightly turned out hips. It's not that abnormal, but I just burned through my cartilage. And there's reasons for that. They think maybe jumping in volleyball and basketball is a big jumper. Doesn't matter. So for like 2.5 years since COVID really started, I was in daily pain, and it got progressively worse. And for those that deal with daily pain, it's debilitating. And so my exercise and diet became really difficult because I was hurting all the time. So I started eating like shit all the time. I started to self-medicate with alcohol and other things just to kind of I was drinking a old fashioned every night just to help me get to sleep. And, you just gain a lot. I just gained a bunch of weight, which was really difficult for me as kind of a self-identified fit guy. And, eventually I ended up last November, a year ago, having hip replacement surgery on my left side. And like literally November 15th, so almost a year ago, like a couple weeks after, I had my left hip replaced and went through a pretty gnarly 6-month recovery period of physical therapy, all the craziness. And then I just kind of hit that breaking point where I, kept looking in the mirror being like, man, I'm not happy where I'm at. Like, I think people have the same type of, experience for whatever reasons. There's thousands of reasons. And so, I was just kind of like, fuck it, honestly. And hey, here's another kind of sad truth, especially for people that have been in fitness. Like, we kind of know what to do. And I don't mean to belittle people that maybe have that excuse of like, I don't know what to do, but we do. You eat well and you exercise. Like don't overcomplicate the world. And I know there's pills and there's shots and there's protein drinks and there's all this chaos. I love it. It's insane. But sometimes you just need to make it simple. So for me, I said, look, I need to sweat every day. That's my bar. Just break a sweat every day, which it could be a walk. Like I could just go for a walk. I could go work out at the gym. I could just do cardio. I could jump on the Peloton. Like I didn't want to make it something crazy. Now I do have a personal trainer and I go to him twice a week and he's awesome. But the other, 5 days a week, I just needed to sweat. So that kind of checked that box. And then for diet, I just said meat and vegetables. Just meat and vegetables. No calorie counting, which is difficult for me. I have 80. I can't do it. I'm not detail oriented. I'm like, that's hell. Can't handle it. I know that. So I ate meat and vegetables. I threw in a little cheese every now and then some healthy fats like avocados, almonds. I still ate bacon. I ate bacon a lot for 100 days. Like it's not the healthiest meat. We all know this, but I'm like, you know what? This is meat and vegetables is what I'm going to, and you can find that in every restaurant, everywhere you go. I travel. I'm in hotels. I always stayed at hotels that had 24-hour gyms. So at the end of the day, I could go get on a treadmill and walk for an hour uphill, whatever it was, just sweat. And then you had to cut out some things. So I cut out sugar and I cut out alcohol. And, when you take those things out, you sweat every day, you eat meat and veggies. And then my last piece that was really, for me, you have to find what works for you. You have to kind of hack the world a little bit. And I said, I'm going to have a public accountability around this. I'm going to post every single day my weight and my result, because that's the result. And if it fluxes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. But I'm going to post every day. And I don't know if this works for everybody, but for me, the embarrassment, the public embarrassment, even though no one gives a shit, no one cares. Like if I failed, no one would really care. But but for some reason, for me and like self-hacking, like this works because I'm like, oh, I can't deal with the embarrassment and the internal shame of not doing it outweighed the desire for an old fashioned or sugar or whatever. And I'll tell you this too, there's no perfect time. There's always a birthday. There's always a holiday. There's always a reason. I mean, I went over Thanksgiving. I went over Halloween, which is like my jam. That's my holiday. Like I went over birthdays. I'm like not doing it because you just got to fix it. And so that this worked for me. And that's my whole, 2 cents, Josh. People ask like, oh, I want the same thing. And I'm like, great, here's what I did. But you got to find out what works for you. I don't know what's going to work for you. But I lost 53 pounds as of this morning in 100 days. So, wow. Yeah, dude, it's been wild.
I want everybody to take a big deep breath after what Alec just said and went like, there's so many things that I want to even like unpack and talk about here because there's literally, I want to start with this. You mentioned everybody's different. And a lot of people know my physical journey because I was similar to you. I had gained a whole bunch of weight. I had hit, 250 again in my life. And it was when I had my second kid that I'm like, I was literally like trying to chase him around. I noticed that I couldn't catch my breath. I'm like, yeah, I'm running, like trying to just catch my kid. Like I'm struggling with this. That was the time for me. Everybody has that moment in life. Yeah. But what you mentioned too is everybody's different. Like everybody's different. There's all kinds of pills and like the latest and greatest. You can take this shot. You can do this. It never is sustainable. Never sustainable. And it's just like, just pick something simple. Well, you just said it's simple. Meat and vegetables for you. I'm that same type of guy. That's how I say. People always ask me, well, Josh, how do you maintain your weight? Simple diet, and I sweat. I get on a treadmill. I hit the gym in the morning, and it's not like I'm spending an enormous. People are like, oh, you must spend hours at the gym. No, I spend 30 to an hour in the gym, and I don't do anything crazy. But here's what I want to ask you, Alec, because people know I'm very honest about this. I hate the gym. Some people get that like that runner's high or that like, oh, I love pumping, getting jacked up at the gym. I hate it, but I love the way I feel. I love that I'm healthy. I love that I can go outside and run around with my kids. I love that aspect of it. I hate the actual gym. How do you like being a gym owner, being that you've experienced those things? How do you actually feel in the moment? Like, is that something you crave? You look forward to it?
No. No. You know, so the reason that just sweat every day worked for me was I just needed something to help me get started. It's always the get started thing that sucks, at least for me. Just like getting up in the morning, and I have to work out in the mornings. Now I'll do stuff late at night when I travel because I have early morning flights. I'm not getting up at 4. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry, Goggins. I'm not doing it. But like I'll get up at so I'll do a late workout when I'm traveling because who cares? I'm in a hotel, nothing's going on. But I get up in the morning and I just start. And if it's just sweat for the day, I just need to start sweating and I just need to get in there. And then by the time you kind of get your body moving, you got that forward momentum. You got it. You're done. You're going to make it happen. You're going to get it done that day. And everyone feels good afterwards. You always feel that sense of accomplishment. You always feel like the sense of like, fuck yeah, I did this. I got going. So there's always a payoff at the end. But for me, it's just like, how do you just get started? One of the things, I can't remember who said this. It could have been like Jocko or somebody out there who's kind of that, guru, athlete, go guy. But like in the morning when your alarm goes off and everything sucks and you just want to snooze and you don't want to do anything. One of the things that has helped me was just start moving. Just get up. All you gotta do is just stand up. And once you get that forward momentum, once you just literally stand up and you're like, okay, I've stood up. Now everything else is downhill. Now you're moving. Now you got the momentum. Now you're going. So I don't know. My encouragement is just figure out what that is for you to get into action. Because once you crest that, once you start moving, everything else is easy.
Bro, so it's funny because there's Jocko, there's Goggins. For me, it was Mel Robbins, which everybody's like, Mel Robbins? You mean the little gal like that? Hers was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that still is like in bed in the mornings when my alarm goes off. I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, do I really want to? And I count. And as soon as I stand up, you nailed it. As soon as I stand up,
you're going.
It's just like, I'm like, okay, I'm up. Like now I'm not laying back down. I'm going to get up and go. I'm going to make this happen. So you just have to take that step, which there's so many correlations that you and I can compare this to here in a second, but it really is just getting started, pushing through that discomfort because we all want to lay next to our beautiful spouse in bed and stay there and hang out where it's warm. Like, yeah, dude, nobody wants to do that, but you have to. Like, if you want to see the results, if you want to feel better, if you want to achieve whatever it is you set out for, then you've got to be willing to take that first discomfort, that uncomfortable step, push through it. And then again, you're going to see that. Now, something you mentioned in there as well. So many people look for the shortcut, the pill, the weight loss, the secret, the fad diet. This is that is going on. But you and I both have achieved results by simply just doing the basic things, like you said, cutting some things out of your diet. And now I'm sure you're like me. I'll be 100% honest. I had a cinnamon roll this morning because my wife got cinnamon rolls. She's like, hey, and I'm like, cinnamon rolls are my jam. Like, that's the one thing I'm like, oh, cinnamon rolls, I'm in. I'm sure you at the same time, you've had a couple of things like, okay, I'm going to have this, but it's not overindulging. It's not doing it every single day. It's taking those times where like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to stay because it's a slippery slope. It's easy to be like, okay, just one cinnamon roll. Then I'm going to hit now I'm going to have the nightcap. Then I'm going to do this. You've got to stay focused throughout the journey.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that has always stuck with me was this comment about like, if you want to achieve results, you need to operate, in the 80 or 90 percentile range of effort or of execution. I'm kind of like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, the elite operate at the 100% of execution, meaning if your diet, if everything you put in your mouth for the day equals 100% effort, then if you're going to eat a cinnamon roll, that's going to take you down a percentage. Maybe now you're at 90%, depending on how much food you're ingesting for the day. Okay, well, if you're operating at 90% of your day, you're crushing it. That's an A. You're getting an A. But if half of your day is filled with unideal food, you're operating at 50% of your capacity and of your execution. So that's not going to get you to where you potentially want to go. So, kind of measuring it out and applying moderation and all that stuff is a core thing. And yeah, Mark's comment is clutch too. I mean, I can tell you, Mark, when I had the hip issue and my right hip's now acting up, sleep's a problem. If you wake up throughout the night, you're not at 100% execution, period. Your hormone levels are going to be jacked up. Your willpower is going to be jacked up. So, and sometimes it's not in your control. Like, when I had hip issues, I was trying to figure out, well, what do I take? Melatonin? How do I get off? I got to stop drinking bourbon. So let's do something else to figure it out. And for me, it ended up culminating in surgery to get me to where I can actually have a night's sleep where I'm not being woken up by my hip every night. It's a problem, but all these things are so what now things. Like it's reality. If you have an issue, I was talking to a buddy on social who's like, well, this is hard for me. I'm a diabetic. I'm a type 2 diabetic and I'm dealing with all this bullshit. And I'm like, I get it, man. You got a harder cross to bear. My hip was dysfunctional and I gained a ton of weight and I had to figure out what to do with it, or else I had to deal with, or just go on my path. And it sucks to go into that, so what now kind of conversation, but that's where life is. Yeah. I mean, Mark, I get it, dude. Dislocated shoulder, stiff joint, your hill is more difficult. It's rough, bro. I feel you.
It's interesting you say that, and we all have those hills. We all have the crosses we bear. We all have things that are challenging. And to Mark's point, to your friends, we will all go through this journey of life. We experience difficulties. We experience those times where we want to quit. We don't want to get out of bed, but that's what makes us who we truly are. It's who we are destined to become, is pushing through that. There's always a solution. There's always an opportunity. Again, yes, it's pain. Sometimes it sucks. I guarantee, Alec, as you were going through this, especially going through the recoveries, you were hitting the gym again during these first few 100 days or first, 10, 20 Terrible. Days. Dude, I bet you were just like, I hate this. This hurts. Terrible. This sucks.
Oh, physical therapy was the worst, dude. A guy took a metal spoon and was digging into my scar for 6 months. Terrible. I'm just chewing on leather, trying to it sucked. Yeah, look, I don't want to. We all have our cross to bear. We all have our thing to deal with, and some are worse than others. I'm gonna just claim it. So I just want to have empathy for that. It's what it is.
Being empathetic, I think you and I are both. I know you've had the chance to sit down with Gary Vaynerchuk multiple times and do an interview with him. He's somebody that talks about empathy in such a way that we have to be empathetic. We have to be understanding. We have to have that grace, that care for the other people around us, because I will never understand probably the pain that Alec went through having that hip replacement. We can be empathetic, yet we can still go out and achieve. We can still go out and do. We can still be executioners. We can still go out and accomplish things we want. We just have to be willing to push through it. Alec, I want to kind of correlate. I want to kind of make a comparison to business, because I mean, we all know we're in the mortgage industry here. Times are tough. People are kind of feeling that same pain, that discomfort that you and I are talking about. How do you overcome that? Because it is physical, but it's very different. So how do you overcome what we're going through right now?
There's a great correlate in health and fitness to the market today, because and even like on a weight loss journey, because you're not responsible for the results. You're responsible for the actions. And if anybody's ever tried to lose weight before, you know how frustrating it is to bust your ass and eat the right food and do everything right, and then look at a scale that's not moving. It is so defeating and frustrating and brutal on the psyche. And yet, what a great correlation to the market today, where all of the effort and all of the prospecting and all of the marketing aren't yielding the results you're used to having in the last decade of our industry, which is a long ass time. And all of a sudden you're going, this sucks. And where's the result? And where's my victory lap? And where's the financial payoff? And that the correlate of that, I always kind of, faith, I'm a very faith-centric person. And I think that's helped me personally, but having faith is crucially important in markets like this and on health and fitness journeys and all this stuff, knowing that the effort that you're putting out, as long as you're validating that it's the right effort and you're getting the support and mentorship from coaches and leaders who are saying, you're not just running down the wrong alley and you're doing the right stuff. I want to make a t-shirt that says it's seed planting season. Ooh. Because everything that everyone's doing in the market today are planting seeds. And I know it's not time for the harvest. And I know it's brutal because you're like, I'm not getting any reward for this. I'm just doing all the work and I'm not getting any payoff. And I think I should quit. But every seed you're planting is part of the harvest that's to come. And so you don't, it's backbreaking to sit there and plant seeds every day with nothing to harvest. But it's the parallels are too true. You got to have faith, validate that you're doing the right stuff, get surrounded by great mentors, stay in the game, and the victories are going to come. The weight's going to come off. The results in your business are going to come. You just got to stick in it, and that's the place we're in right now.
Bro, that was deep. I hope all of you go back and listen to what Alec just said, and I'm right there with you. I'm having a very faith-centered, ideological outlook on life. Planting seeds for me is one of those things that I talk about a lot, especially with youth. I work a lot with the youth, and it's all about planting seeds. And it's not just planting the seeds is part of it. I tell them a lot. You have to plant the seeds, but then you have to cultivate. You have to, and I live in a valley in particular where we have 100-year generation farmers and people who grow crops and this and that. And I tell them, you plant the seed, but then you still got to do the work. Like, you can't just throw the seed in the ground and hopefully it's going to sprout up and grow.
Yeah, there's work. You got to water it.
You got to water it. Sometimes you got to do some weeding around it. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of work to make sure and maintain it so it grows, so you can enjoy the harvest. Now is seed sowing season. Alec, I couldn't agree with you more. Right now, everybody, and there's always the joke right now, especially in the mortgage and real estate industry. It's the mortgage winter. Everybody's taking it and relaxing, chilling back. And you can be like everybody else, the 99 percentile, but it's the 1% right now, Alec, the ones who are who are sowing seeds right now, that they're going to be the ones. They're going to see the results, because no one else, everybody's like, I'm just going to sit back and relax and see what happens.
100%, man. And that you nailed it. You can't take the winter off. That's insane. This is when you have to double down. I have a spreadsheet up on my desktop, not because I'm morbid, but just because I'm interested. I'm connected to so many great mortgage professionals over the last 10 years. And part of my effort has been to connect to a lot of mortgage professionals to understand what's happening in the world today. And there's just a lot leaving the industry for a lot of reasons. And I get all those reasons, but that's a win for the people that are staying, even though it doesn't feel that way. It could be a little kind of morbid, like I said, but that's, survival is also victory sometimes. And very, 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 very few people are having the best years of their life in this market. The great originators are absolutely not having the best years of their life, because they wouldn't be great otherwise. They wouldn't have had multi-$100-million years and then still be able to do that in this market. The market is the market. So, but for them, they're still winning massively in my eyes and their own. You have to take it as the market comes.
And that it's something that's completely out of your control. All that you can control is the efforts you're putting in now, is the seeds that you are sowing. You and I both. That's something that we've been very blessed and fortunate with, is we have a lot of incredible friends in the industry, and it's heartbreaking. It truly is. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, we need a calling, we need this to happen. At the same time, we've made such great, genuine relationships and genuine friends. It's heartbreaking to see when they go out of business, when they lost their site, for whatever reason, whatever occurred, shit happens.
Yeah.
And it is. So be willing to put in the work now, because if you're putting in the work, yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be painful, but we all know you can do it. We've been through similar circumstances. And if you haven't, then now's the time where you get to grow and you get to become the best person that you are, because as you push through it, you're going to see those results. So, Alec, I want to be respectful of your time. This is always, every time I sit down with you, I learn something. I get better as a person. I'm like, damn, this guy, you need to write more, but you are one of those people that is there's so many little insights and so many little valuable nuggets that you share every time I hang out with you. I almost feel greedy because I'm just like, man, I get just this feed off of Alec and what he's sharing with all of us. If you were from one thing that you learned from your 100-day challenge, your 100-day journey, what would be that one thing that really stood out more than anything that you want to share with people right now?
If you're willing to make your journey public, which people are very scared of, and I understand, because there's potentially a fear of failure and shame in that. There's lots of things in that, but on the other side of that coin, there's incredible support. The amount of people that sent me a message that just said, like, dude, good job. Like, it probably took very little effort. They thumbed up the post. They sent me another note and gave me some encouragement. People gave me tips, like, all the stuff. You just realize how many people out there are going to pull for you. Even people that are relatively strangers, really, in the scheme of things, but maybe socially connected, but you don't really know each other, and you don't hang out or whatever it is, are going to root for you and cheer you on. You get to see a side of humanity that's always there under the surface, which is that people generally care about other people and root for other people. And that was incredibly fun for me to realize with this journey. So many people just sent a note in the middle of their busy day just to say, good job, just to give me a virtual high five. And that's rad, because that just fills you with this kind of like reconnection to humanity. And it fills you with a little encouragement, a little more motivation, a little more ability to stick to it. And so my biggest kind of takeaway or encouragement for others that are trying to step into something to achieve something new, you're going to find that there are people pulling for you, and that's going to help you. So go public with it, enlist that support. And then the secondary thing is, I learned from my sister, who is, she's probably 18 years sober in her journey of sobriety. An unbelievable inspiration for me. And one of the things that I took from her journey in digging into AA and digging into the big book that they have and all this stuff was just a very simple truth of just take it a day at a time. And the Bible talks about that too, with, tomorrow's got worries of its own. Don't stress about it. Worry about today. And all. So there's just the universal truth in my mind of just all you have to deal with is just today. And so 100 days is gigantic and overwhelming. And people would be like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't even think about it, guys. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about day 62 when I'm on day 8. All I'm thinking about is day 8. And all I'm thinking about today is putting meat and veggies in my mouth and not bread. Like that's all I'm thinking about. And that becomes so manageable. Just today is manageable. 100 days is unmanageable. It's too much. What are you going to do about Thanksgiving? What are you going to do about Halloween? What are you going to do about all these things that you care about? But you can't think about that. You just go, what's today? Can I handle today? Yes, I will eat Chipotle once frickin' again. And I'm just never going to Chipotle again. I'm done. I think I ate it 72 times. Like, I'm never going back. But you know what? You got to find what works, and you got to focus a day at a time.
I want everybody, again, go back and listen to the last 2 minutes of that, what Alec just said. First and foremost, be willing to share your journey. I know, as I watched Alec and I are close friends. I've watched him, every single day with this journey. It's inspired me. I know it's inspired other people. And you're not doing it for that. What Alec even mentioned, the people that came and interacted with him, it makes you, as human beings, we crave that interaction. We crave that opportunity just to interact with other human beings. So be willing, and it doesn't cost you anything. You can go and just say, Alec, dude, love the workout today. Simple things that, again, it does something for you. It does something for him. And then take it every single day at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. If you look at the entire grand scheme, like, holy shit, 100 days, I can't, there's no way I can do that. Too much. Today, get it done today. Continue to do it, and you will succeed. Alec, this has been absolutely brilliant. I cannot thank you enough. You truly are one of those leaders who you inspire from your actions, from what you share, sharing your journey, sharing your fails, sharing your wins. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being willing to come on, as you always do, and share so much value to everybody watching and listening. You truly are an inspiration, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thanks, bro. Hey, take care.
As always, we appreciate all of you. We love you. We hope you have an amazing day. And don't forget to go out and shred, show up, hustle, repeat every day. See you guys.